Good morning. Welcome to Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Kiawe, and Sugaree peoples. My name is Vanessa Sampson Schneider, and I will be your worship assistant for our service today, and our service leader, Cosette Blackburn, this morning. And that should be an exciting service. And so we are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us in a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad that you're here in person or with us at home or online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. And as far as announcements, I don't see any. So, Cosette has one. Let's go ahead and have him come up.
I just wanted to remind everybody that the Earth Day celebration on April 20th is being held in Salisbury. The information about that is in the back of the order of service, and of course you can find that online. But I don't know if they still need volunteers, but do check it out. They still need volunteers, so please, if you can, spend any time at all to help give out flyers and things. That'd be great.
Thank you, Cosette. And for other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service. Or if you are on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than you arrived.
Our chalice lighting words were written by Tracy Johnson and were found on the UUA website. We light our chalice this morning. Light of our creative spirit. Light of our wise soul. Light of our wondering and curious minds. Light of love for this place, this people, this work. Illuminate our hearts and the spaces between them in this sacred time of sharing. Blessed be. Now please join me in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. The words are found in your order of service. Thank you, Ann. I invite you to please rise in body, mind, or spirit for our call to worship. Today's words are actually the lyrics from our gray hymnal, number 73, but please don't sing. For the flowers that bloom about our feet, for tender grasses, fresh and sweet, for song of bird and hum of bee, for all things fair we hear and see. Giver of all, we thank you. For blue stream and blue sky, for pleasant share of branches high, for fragrant air and cooling breeze, for beauty of the blooming trees. Giver of all, we thank you. For this new morning with its light, for rest and shelter of the night, for health and food, for love and friends, for everything that goodness sends. Giver of all, we thank you. Now please join us in singing our opening hymn, number 123, found in the gray hymnal. Say good morning, Polly. Good morning, everyone. Oh, look at the lovely faces. You're so wonderful. Now, I invited Polly here today to talk to us about rain. Do you like the rain, Polly? I love the rain. Yeah. Do you children love the rain?
Yeah. Except for the getting wet.
Why do you love the rain? You wet your boo-boo? Oh, that's awesome. Anybody else? Why do you like the rain? He likes the rain. Did you want to share? Why do you like the rain?
Because it makes a nice sound and I can get to sleep faster.
Ah, rain makes a lovely sound and can help us sleep with the rhythm. You know, Polly, I love the rain too. I love the rain because it makes the flowers grow. Yay, flowers! Now, Polly, there's another reason, or what's your favorite reason for the rain? Well, when this vernal rain comes, vernal, what in the world is vernal? Vernal is another name for spring. But when the vernal rains come, all my friends can splash and play and swim in the water. Well, that's terrific, Polly. But there's another reason too, right? Yes. When it rains, frogs can lay their eggs in the water. Then frogs turn into tadpoles. And then what happens? Do you know?
Then they grow back legs.
That's right. The tadpoles become froglets. It's really amazing. And then the froglets, what happens to the froglets?
They turn into frogs.
Yay! Froglets grow into full-grown frogs. Yay! Now, Polly, I understand that that you can imitate several kinds of frogs. Is that right? That's right. Let's see. How about a bullfrog? Oh, hold on. Can you kids sing like a bullfrog? How about you adults? Any tries? Yay! Very good, Alan. And let's see. How about, oh, you know what? Right now I can hear spring peepers singing in the woods across the street from my house. Can you do a spring peeper? Spring peepers are easy. Beep, 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 beep. Can you guys sing like a spring peeper? Beep, beep, beep. Very nice. That's awesome. Now, Polly, I understand you're a green frog. How did she know? Well, exactly. Let's see, I understand green frogs have a certain song. What do green frogs sound like? Anybody want to try to sing like a green frog? Oh, very good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, is it true, Polly, that frogs can actually call the rain? No, we don't call the rain, but we can tell when it's gonna rain, and we get so excited. We sing. Well, that's terrific, Polly. But I think that's all the time we have for today. All right. Bye, kids. I gotta hop along. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Go have fun. This is our time of ritual and sacred sharing, a time for sharing our joys and sorrows, our concerns, and our milestones. First this week, we light a candle for the family of John Spence, Ann L's nephew, who passed in recent days. For those affected by the earthquake in Taiwan. For a just peace with Israel and Palestine, and especially for all those who are suffering in Gaza. For our Muslim siblings observing Ramadan. For the ongoing struggle for civil rights in Iran. For all areas of violence around the world, especially Haiti and the war in Ukraine. And finally, we light a candle that our society will strive toward peaceful interactions and engagement and actively work against violence as a way to interact. At this time, you are welcome to come up and fill out a prayer card, drop a stone into our shared water, or light your own candle of joy or concern. The service assistant will hand the candle to you if you wish to light a candle. I invite you as you come forward to walk along the outer aisle next to the wall. Thank you. Finally, we light a few more candles for those things we hold in our hearts that remain unspoken, and for those joining us from elsewhere to honor what is in their hearts as well. Now, for our meditation this morning, I wanted to try something just a little different. I'd like to lead us in a guided meditation. So I'll talk to us for a little while, and I'm sorry, I'm not talking into the mic. I'm sorry. I would like to lead us in a guided meditation this morning. I'm sorry, I was wearing a lavalier at the last service, and I guess I got used to that. All right. So we'll have a little guided meditation where I'll speak, and then I'll ring the singing bowl to call us back into this space, and then followed by our musical meditation as usual. But to begin, I would like all of us to take a few deep breaths, and as you feel comfortable, you can either relax your lids or even close your eyes. Breathe in and out. In and out. Feel your feet firmly planted on the floor. Allow your chair to hold you up. Relax. Drop your shoulders and release any tension in your neck. Now imagine that you're a tiny seed resting within the soil. The soil around you is cool, and within you is love and light, and you are full of potential. On your next breath, you notice that the earth around you is gently warming. So you decide to put just the smallest tendril down into the soil. That small root is greeted with moisture, and you absorb that moisture, and it fills you with nutrition. You feel called to send out more of your tiny roots deeper and deeper into the soil. Now you notice that the soil warms just slightly more, and you are so full of energy, you send a small shoot up towards that warmth, up until you break through the surface. There, you're greeted with glorious light, maybe a gentle rain, and you welcome that light by unfurling your tender leaves. The leaves absorb more energy, so you continue to grow. Stalk, limb, branch. You grow, reaching for the stars, for the moon, for the sun. All the while, your roots are getting stronger too. And now you are so full of energy that you produce a small bud, a tiny little bud, but it grows quickly. And soon it slowly unfurls until you have a beautiful bloom. That bloom is full of color and fragrance. You turn that bloom so it faces the sun which shines upon you, and you share your love and your light upon the world. Now pull your attention back to this room, this sacred space. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, wiggle your toes, maybe your fingers, shake your shoulders. And when you feel called, please open your eyes.
This morning, our words of wisdom were written by John Saxon and were found on the UUA worship website. I encourage you to take a look if you haven't been on the UUA worship website. So many awesome things. But listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It calls us in the silence and through the noise and the busyness of our daily lives. It calls us in the brightness of the day and the darkness of the night, in times of hope and despair. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It doesn't matter what you call it, for it has no name and has many different names. The Spirit of life, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of compassion, the Spirit of hope, the Spirit of justice. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It's calling you and to me. It's calling us to greater wholeness, greater connection, greater service, greater love. It's calling us to heal the brokenness within ourselves, in others, and in the world. It's calling us to live more deeply. It's calling us to beauty. It's calling us to laugh and dance and sing. It's calling to live through life's pain and sorrow. It's calling us to live courageously and kindly, to speak our truth in love, and to bend the moral arc of the universe toward justice. It's calling us into community. It's calling us into the greater life of all. Listen. Can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. Amen.
I was very excited to introduce Polly Frog to you this morning. I have had an affinity for frogs nearly my entire life. I remember admiring a ceramic frog with holes in its back that belonged to my grandmother. She explained that the frog had holes because it was designed to help hold flowers upright. It was a floral frog. A floral frog is usually a small disc I have one here. It has little spikes in it, and you place it into a shallow dish with water, and it holds flowers upright. This particular floral frog was shaped like a green frog. I was so enamored with it that she gave it to me, and I have brought it with me today to display these flowers. To the best of my knowledge, these floral flower holders are called frogs because they live in the water. The ceramic frog was the first of my large frog collection. It started slowly, but by the time I graduated high school, my room was filled with stuffed toy frogs and frog-shaped knickknacks. I owned t-shirts displaying frogs and even had a little Kermit the Frog eraser. You get the picture? For those of you who can remember, in the 1990s, it seems like frogs were everywhere, at least to me. Not literally or biblically, but in the DC area, there was a restaurant, for instance. It was a restaurant called the Rainforest Cafe. I don't know if you're familiar. And it hangs a big, giant frog out in front of the eating establishment. They also sell little souvenirs with that same frog icon on it. That large shopping center also contained, at the time, my favorite casual clothing store called Peace Frog, which mostly sold t-shirts and hoodies, that sort of thing. But mostly, at that time, I was reading reports like the one by the Rainforest Alliance and other research groups that many frogs were endangered, like the golden toad. These reports were presented on the evening news as well as newspapers and periodicals. You remember those? By the 1990s, many species of frogs had already become extinct, and the golden toad was listed as extinct in 2004. Perhaps the most alarming was the knowledge that frogs, toads, and salamanders are called indicator species. As stated in the Defense of Wildlife webpage, they, amphibians, are extremely sensitive to changes in the environment and can give scientists valuable insight into how an ecosystem is functioning. And because amphibians are both predator and prey, many other animals are affected by them or the loss of them. The loss of frogs and toads upset me very much, and I found myself drawn to Lily Pons Water Gardens, that's spelled P-O-N-S after the opera singer. The property is located in a spring-fed, low-lying area just a few miles from where I lived in Frederick. George Thomas, the founder of Lily Pons, was cultivated and sold lilies and lotus and every sort of water plant. The company also carried fish and everything you might need to build yourself a backyard pond. The property featured numerous large man-made ponds that are filled with wonderful wildlife. I found myself going and visiting to watch the birds and listen to the frogs. I enjoyed the grounds so much that I sought employment there as a seasonal help in their retail store, and eventually worked my way up to shift supervisor in their call center. I felt that by encouraging our clients to naturally maintain their little backyard oases, wildlife might find more hospitable habitat. And some of our clients did revel in attracting large birds, not all of them, frogs, and I had one client who even liked to feed the otters with small feeder fish. I would spend my lunch breaks exploring the property. During these walks, I watched the birds like egrets, herons, and eagles, and I once thrilled as little turtle hatchlings scurried across the walkways. And I always listened for the frogs. Already a practicing pagan, I felt these experiences very deeply.
I felt connected to the earth below my feet. The air was alive with not just birds, but dragonflies, moths, and butterflies. I was surrounded by water and glorious lilies and beautiful lotus plants. I would breathe it all in with wonder and awe. I felt grounded. I felt connected to the all. These direct experiences enhanced and expanded my earth-centered spiritual practice. Now, one reason I focus on frogs today is that they are a symbol of spring. Their calls can be heard at the first sign of the spring thaw. In fact, it was way back in maybe late January, early February, I could hear cricket frogs singing in the woods across the street. Some people mistake them for actual crickets, but they're frogs. It was once thought that frogs actually call the rain, but as our friend Polly Frog stated, they are actually just sensitive to the barometer changing and can feel the rain coming. The calls are made by the males, just like birds, to attract a mate. Rains equate to the vernal ponds and pools that will hopefully remain long enough for their offspring to grow to adulthood. Another major symbol of spring is the rabbit, of course, who had a little visit last week. Again, a fertility symbol, and that's because, well, rabbits are good at math. They multiply. And speaking of symbols of spring, let's not forget the humble egg, a symbol of new life and new beginnings, and thus associated with the vernal equinox. But there's another reason. If you raise chickens, you know that left to their natural cycles, chickens only start laying their eggs after a certain amount of daylight is available. Living in modern times, we are blessed with eggs year-round because of artificial lighting. Symbols are funny, though. They are not static. Each of us might have a different meaning to a symbol because of our personal experiences, but consider that meanings and symbols also change over time and across cultures. Symbols can be utilized by religious sects, political movements, and businesses. And over time, this use can influence the perception of a meaning of a said icon. I would also caution getting too caught up in any one meaning associated with the symbol, mostly because they're usually in flux. But for example, I had a friend who was taught that crows were bad omen, and then if you saw a crow, bad things would happen. This is a common myth. My personal experience and belief is that crow is associated with prophecy, transformation, and change, but not necessarily a bad sign. I shared with her my thoughts, and that when she sees a crow, it's not necessarily a bad tiding or death. And she actually took the words to heart and worried quite a bit less. And between y'all and me, sometimes a crow is just a crow. Doesn't mean anything. Of course, more than one meaning can be placed on a symbol. Many symbols that are associated with fertility, like the frog, are often thought to bring good luck and financial gain. Our humble frog, according to the Spirits of the West Coast Art Gallery webpage, they say the native symbol of the frog symbolizes wealth and abundance. When the frog is portrayed in art with his tongue touching another creature, it represents the sharing of knowledge and power. Many native cultures believe that frogs prevent loss, which is why small frog coins are put into purses to prevent money loss. The Haida, who live on an archipelago off western Canada, also carve frogs on their house posts in the belief that the frog would prevent those posts from falling down. So frogs can also symbolize transformation, cleansing, because they live in the water, and renewal. And thus, that frogs became a symbol of spiritual healing for me. A frog's skin is permeable to provide oxygen to the blood vessels close to the surface of their skin. But thinking on this helped me to be comfortable in my own skin. The life cycle of a frog taught me about transformation and helped me move through the world and stay in the present moment, letting go of the past. Focusing on the present moment also keeps us from worrying about the future. Now, I mentioned earlier that I call myself an earth-centered spiritualist. I also use the terms pagan or neo-pagan. The term neo-pagan is used to reflect the resurgence of earth-centered beliefs in our modern era. I have been a practicing pagan, celebrating the Wheel of the Year, joining ritual and leading rituals of every sort. I participate in drum circles, and generally I have celebrated the earth and the goddess for over 30 years. If you are wondering what neo-pagans believe, there is no simple answer. According to Margot Adler in her book, Drawing Down the Moon, most neo-pagans identify as either believing in animism, pantheism, or polytheism, or some combination of the above. Adler states that animism is used to imply a reality in which all things are imbued with vitality. Pantheism implies that divinity is inseparable from nature and that deity is immanent in nature. And polytheism is grounded in the view that reality, divine or otherwise, is multiple and diverse. Last year, our PUUC CUPS book club, CUPS stands for Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, read Drawing Down the Moon by Margot Adler. It is very long, but it's very interesting and includes a broad perspective of the fast-growing religion of paganism in the 20th century. Now, our CUPS group also honors the Wheel of the Year with rituals 8 times a year on what are considered the major pagan holy days. The next ritual is celebrating Beltane or May Day. We will gather here at the University Gathering Sanctuary on Saturday, May 4th at 7 p.m. For more information regarding CUPS, we do have a web page on our church webpage, so please look it up. I titled this homily, The Wheel Turns to Spring. That refers to that pagan wheel of the year. The idea of the calendar year being expressed as a wheel is very common, but especially among pagans. One depiction of the wheel of the year is illustrated in your order of service. I also have, a simple depiction here, but consider that if you take a year and you've divided into 8 segments, imagine that the north compass point denotes the winter solstice, the shortest day in the northern hemisphere. The opposite point marks the summer solstice, and the center crossing points are the 2 equinoxes. The other 4 segments represent cross-quarter days, sometimes called fire festivals. Many neo-pagans honor or celebrate some or all of those holy days. Some folks instead honor the full moons or the new moons. Now, I hope these examples show you that there's no one static right way to honor or celebrate the wheel of the year or spirit. Also, if you're beginning and you would like to practice maybe and do a ritual or a rite, it is helpful to utilize suggested words and items that an experienced practitioner may have for you. But if you honor what is in your heart and set your intentions carefully, there isn't one perfect phrase, there isn't one perfect color of candle that must be used to have a successful rite. And always remember, your most important tool is to listen, like our wisdom reading this morning. Listen to the wind, listen to the water, listen to the birds, and maybe the frogs. Does nature have a message for you? Do the changing seasons remind you that you can also flow with the lightning days? Listen to your heart, to your own body, your still, soft voice within. Trust your intuition and trust your own gut. What are they telling you? My hope is that the message is clear. To love, to be kind, to grow, create, to bloom. Blessed be.
Thank you, Anne. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is so sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with Happy Roots. Happy Roots in Rowan County is a local 501c3 nonprofit providing nature-based therapeutic and educational services to enhance the wellness of the community and the environment, and that is who is going to be hosting the event that is on April the 20th in Salisbury. And so we ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room. Don't be afraid to touch that basket. And you are always welcome to give online at puuc.org, or you can do so by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
As always, we thank you for the gifts contained in these baskets and for all the gifts that you offer our beloved community. We thank you most of all for the gift of your presence, whether in person or joining us virtually. Now let us rise in body, mind, or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Thank you.
Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks to all the many volunteers who helped make our worship service possible. We also ask before you leave today to please place your hymnals back on the cart near the piano. Now let us take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words, for all the things in life for which we are thankful for today. I invite you, and please, if you feel so called, do share.
Spring.
Grateful for spring.
Puppets and children.
Grateful for puppets and children.
Our guest.
Grateful for our guest.
Our companion animals. Our companion animals.
Ah, much gratitude to our companion animals, winged, four-legged, or other.
This caring community.
Grateful for this caring community. Amen.
Amen. And for Lisette leading the service today.
Some gratitude expressed my way, and I am grateful for all of you. Thank you for holding me up. Now, for our chalice extinguishing, our closing words are from Rumi. A warm, rainy day. This is how it feels when friends gather together. Friends refresh friends then, as flowers do each other in spring rain. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, and create peace wherever we may wander. May it be so. For our closing hymn, we generally make a circle. You may hold hands if you want, but you may also simply stand in the circle with your hands across your heart if you so wish.